Simple question: if NIFA doesn't have the authority to raise taxes, they don't have the authority to intervene on contracts, why don't you just go about your business and ignore them?
Because the problem is, and I think that we've disclosed it, is the concern that they have to approve all borrowing. They have to approve the borrowing that's necessary for cash flow purposes. So what Peter was stating is that they can affect policy decisions through the purse strings. Policy decisions through the purse strings. And that could cause real property tax increases, make it unavoidable. And that's the problem.
Yes. My name is Rich Detunjan. I'm just a taxpayer.
Okay.
Been to Washington 4 times a year. And I like the reverb, like our president. Couple of things. Who is fighting for the county? Is it the county attorneys, or do you have to hire an outside firm? And also, during the case, can you bring up conflict of interest with the NIFA board? And as saying, like, these guys have a conflict of interest with us, they shouldn't be doing this.
Well, number one, we have outside counsel. It's no secret. Rifkin Radler. It is a firm that I formerly worked for because I trust them. This is a high-stakes game where there's a lot of influence out there. So I chose people that I know I can sleep at night that will not be influenced and will represent this county with professional excellence. They have a stellar record. A stellar record. And by the way, I believe that their rate for the county is $250 an hour. And we have asked, what is NIFA paying Skadden Arps? How much per hour? They won't answer. They won't disclose it. Who's hiding? Who conducts their meetings in back rooms? Who won't tell the taxpayers the costs associated with their operations, their attorneys, their accountants? And by the way, they need to be in separately rented space. They can't be in a county building. So we pay their rent too. You pay their staff. You pay every dollar that they incur. They won't tell you though.
I have a question. Is the only way to fight NIFA through a lawsuit? Like there's nothing, the citizens who pay the bills?
Sure, you can get the state to change the legislation. You know, the state legislation. By the way, I plan on asking the state to pay these bills. Okay, because it's the state that caused this. I hope the state plans on paying for Skadden Arps and Grant Thornton and all the costs and expenses associated with this body, because after all, it's a state agency and we have every intention of seeking those dollars back from the state.
You should let the state representative.
Anyone else have questions, comments?
Yeah, I carry it. Tom Walsh, Mississippi, we're Tea Party.
Sure.
Of our tax bill, what can you actually cut? What's the percentage? You said 17%.
We're 17% of your
That's
tax
the only.
bill.
That's not including mandates. That's you have.
Well, we have a $2.6 billion budget. About 85% at least of our budget is mandated. We do many mandated services with respect to social services, largely.
That's my next question. What about getting some of these mandated?
We've asked the state for mandate relief. I've met with the governor before he was elected as Attorney General, during his quest to become governor, and after, and we have asked for mandate relief here. It's just simply unsustainable.
Well, I know that this is a question that doesn't have an answer, but what about NIFA? Can they relieve you of some of the mandates?
No. No. There's no mandate relief. Here again, they can, one, freeze wages. That's it, freeze wages, not open contracts, not stop deferrals. Two, they have to approve borrowings. And three, they approve some level of contracts to be determined. That's it. That's it. Now again, all these contracts have gone through our administration. They most go through a separately elected body called the Legislature, where 19 separately elected people see them and approve them. And then finally to a separately elected person called a comptroller, who looks at those contracts, approves them, and certifies them for payment. I just don't see where we need, especially in this environment, just another level of government.
I understand when he says contracts, but we're talking about the contract to get the company that paves the road. We're talking about the contract to get the equipment and to get the company to make sure Cedar Creek sewage treatment plant keeps running. Those are contracts. Those are contracts that the county enters into to ensure the services flow. No reference to the sewage treatment plant.
Well, you wanna hope they
We
flow.
buy an ambulance, we buy a police car, those are contracts, that's to ensure public safety. So, well, they can review it if they want, the cost of an ambulance is the cost of an ambulance, it's publicly bid, an ambulance costs what it costs, period. They can review it, they're gonna cost us money to review that contract, okay, fine.
It's already reviewed by, in most cases, 3 separately elected bodies. Elected by the people, answerable, accountable, audited, by the way.
Any questions, comments, anyone?
Just a word about the, can you bring out the conflict of interest in the court case with this?
Well, I think that Peter is holding hearings perhaps on it. Peter could actually answer that question.
We're gonna,
Peter, take the mic.
it's going to be, it's really gonna be a back and forth now to see how NIFA responds. We've announced that as a result of this, I'm gonna have the Rules Committee of the Legislature is going to conduct a hearing. We'll start out by inviting the NIFA board members to come and testify. We wanna know how they reached their decision. We wanna know their financial backgrounds as far as all the potentials for conflicts, perhaps, where they work and what do they have in the way of stocks and so forth and so on. What interest, if any, do they have on the placement of county debt and county contracts and so on and so forth. We'll invite them to come. Our research shows that when New York City went through a control period, the members of the New York City Big Mac board appeared before the city council. When all the areas upstate that have been in control periods, had control periods, whoever was on that control board appeared before the locally elected government to do just what I'm talking about. So we're going to invite them to come. If they don't come, I'm going to subpoena them. We're going to subpoena them in, we'll drag them in there under subpoena if necessary, and if they fight the subpoena, I'm going to send the sheriff out to go get them. And then, if they're somehow successful, they've already responded to one reporter's question and said, we don't have to, we don't have to respond, we're a state agency. We'll take it, I don't know what they're hiding, but we'll take it as it goes. Hopefully they come, they testify, they tell us what's going on. By the way, county executive moved the money that was in Wells Fargo's bank. They're moving it out. NIFA says that there's a financial variance in the 2011 budget. They just moved $243 million out of Wells Fargo's bank. That's money that's in the bank that is to be used to pay the operating expenses of the county. We haven't even got the sales tax revenue yet. They haven't even got the first quarterly report on the budget yet. The differences between the budgets that we're talking about is this budget contains less borrowing than in the past. It contains less of an increase in spending than in the past, and it contains more cuts and savings than in the past. Things that they approved in the past, they don't approve now.
I got to get one more. 1 second. The county executives have to leave. So if there's any questions for the county executive, and then include
Dan Maloney, National Tea Party, member of all the others as well. I just have one question on the matter of trust and stuff. Who's Martha Kissel?
Martha Crisell,
I guess that's right.
she's attorney in the county attorney's office. Recently reassigned her to my office.
Okay.
She's a municipal attorney.
And her
for the
background?
county. Her background?
She's
may not have a resume, but she's well respected in the office. She's proved herself to be a competent and excellent attorney with respect to review of municipal agreements.
She's national director of National Council of Jewish Women.
I don't have her whole.
The pro-gun, the pro-Dream Act, pro-everything that we are against. Basically, organization.
I'm actually not familiar with that part of her background.
MoveOn.org.
Oh, God.
What's that?
And donated to MoveOn.org.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not familiar. I'm not.
Well, you talk about trust and stuff versus the legal stuff,
Right.
and then you have a counsel in your office who is working for the other side. I
You're
mean,
kidding, she is. Oh,
What's that?
I don't know how you can.
Is this the, okay. Is the last question? Let's give it to the NIFA issue.
John Hales, the Massachusetts Tea Party and CSA. Then the only thing we could do is get the word out to our neighbors, correct? And our friends?
Yes.
That NIFA is putting a roadblock in, and you do have a balanced budget. Am I right? In other words, we have to,
Yes.
there's nothing else we can do, but we have to get the word out.
What you can do is, the bottom line here is, this is a struggle between those people you elected to govern this county and them as to whether we're going to do it by cutting spending or we're going to do it by having a property tax increase. And we're on the side of cutting spending.
Right.
because the county executive has to leave, I say, we'll just take the order. Thank you for his time. Peter's gonna stay. Thank you all.
Take care, Ed. Good to see you.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Sir, you had a question, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was mainly, but I'll address it. Ed Wolf,